One of the defining signs of autism is difficulty with communication. How do you teach an autistic child to talk? I've got a specialist here today with some specific strategies. I'm here today with Kristen Wilson. Welcome to Live on Purpose TV.
Thank you.
Kristen, you've been here before for some discussions about autism, the autistic spectrum. You work with kids in an educational setting mostly,
Right.
as an administrator of Spectrum Academy and as a speech language pathologist.
And a behavior analyst.
Behaviors. I'm doing the math and I'm thinking, who better to talk to us about how to teach autistic children to speak, because this is one of the indicators of autism. Communication deficits or speech. And it's not even speech as much as communication.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe you can clarify some of that for us, but
Yeah, you
what
bet.
can you tell us about this?
You bet. First of all, we just, disclaimer, every child is different.
Mm-hmm.
And what they need in terms of building a language or communication system is going to be widely different, right?
Yes.
And my first piece of advice would be, if you're worried about it, seek out an evaluation, whether
Yes.
that's through your school district or a private speech pathologist or a private behavior analyst company.
Mm-hmm.
Seek an evaluation by a professional.
Now, this could be true of children of any age, true?
Absolutely.
Normally, parents, for example, are going to start being concerned about this at a very young age. They notice that their children aren't meeting certain developmental milestones, or
Correct.
they're not having eye contact, or they're not developing those speech and pre-speech sounds
Yes.
as we would expect. So are evaluations available for even young children in that pre-linguistic phase?
Yeah, absolutely. As a speech pathologist, we can begin treating in a NICU if
Okay.
if we know that there
If you
are
see
issues.
signs, then-
Right. And we have a preemie maybe. We start with some feeding and swallowing and moving the muscles.
Okay.
And then, up to any age.
So get a professional on board. Let's see what's going on, because
Right.
every kid, as you said, is different.
Right.
And even on the autistic spectrum, there's higher functioning and there's lower functioning.
Correct.
And everything in between.
Right.
So you want to get a good sense of where we are, and then that's going to guide what we can do.
Absolutely.
Probably there's some things that we could do anyway,
Yeah.
regardless of what we find out, right?
Right. And
Okay.
I kind of have a big 3 for you.
Oh,
in
wonderful.
terms of that.
Bring it.
Okay, so especially for parents who are wondering, what on earth can I be doing at home? My child isn't communicating with us, and I have no idea where to start.
Yes.
One of the places I love to start, I'm going to save the best for last. One of my favorite things is sign language.
Oh, yeah.
Almost everybody has that available to them. If you have hands, you can do that. And it's easy for parents to
Okay.
prompt a child to make those signs.
Which may be easier than all of the complex responses that need to happen to produce speech.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. It also reduces that frustration factor. So when we have
good
kids
point.
that can't get their needs met, then we're seeing meltdowns and tantrums and terrible behaviors because they can't communicate. Sign language gives them a way to quickly communicate a need.
Okay. And I'm picturing this, Kristen, especially with a younger child who may be on the spectrum. They're having communication issues, but they clearly want something. They want a cookie. So I think sign language
Yep.
for cookie is...
Cookie.
Why do I know that? I don't know. It's a useful sign, okay? Cookie. All right? But then you also model the speech along with it. So it's
Absolutely.
not just the sign.
Right.
Okay.
Always modeling good speech. Yeah, very important. The other tip that I have with sign language is to make it specific. So teaching your child to sign cookie is a lot more specific than please.
Oh, right.
So a lot of people
Okay.
start with more or please.
Okay.
Please what?
Please. Yeah, right.
If it's 2 a.m. and your child is screaming and they're signing please,
It's like, please what?
yeah,
What do
exactly.
I do to help you?
But if they're signing milk,
Okay.
then you know that they're thirsty.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And you can Google and find these basic signs anywhere now, which is really awesome.
So you don't have to be fluent in sign language already.
You sure don't.
You get to learn it along with your child.
Right.
Okay.
And they're just developing language. So you're just talking about single words.
Right.
You're not doing big, complicated sentences.
Okay. Awesome. What other tips would help with developing that communication? I'm picturing, for example, that the sign language is helpful because it gives them something physical to do. It's also very visual, but there's other visual cues that we might be able to add.
Yeah, absolutely. Kids with autism respond really well to pictures and visuals that they can see
Okay.
that help them understand and organize their world. So this could work in a couple of ways. For example, I had a client who was taking swimming lessons during the summer and was used to the routine of putting on the swimsuit, we'd go to the car, we'd drive to the pool. Well, one day they put on the swimsuit, got in the car, and drove a different direction. And he had a complete
Came unglued.
meltdown. Right. He
Changing
doesn't have
the routine,
any
yeah,
verbal
that's a tough
speech.
one.
Right. And all they did was go to a hotel to swim with grandma and grandpa. But he didn't know that's what was happening. So I encouraged mom to get some pictures and either put them in a little book or put them on an iPad where you can swipe through and show him swimsuit, car, hotel, grandpa.
Okay.
And give him
And
an
pool.
idea, right, of what's coming. And when she started doing that, significantly reduced tantrums that he was having when they were leaving the house.
And again, coupling that, because we're talking about how do we encourage them to speak or to talk.
Right.
So you're coupling the pictures with modeling of the appropriate language or speech that goes with it.
Right, absolutely. What I had that mom do was kind of what we call receptive language, understanding language. And then those pictures are there to help him maybe point and use his own expressive language.
Okay. Those two words, I'm familiar with those because of my own training, but expressive and receptive, they're fairly self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Expressive is where you're initiating and trying to communicate something, and receptive is where you're receiving and
Right.
and you're understanding
Right.
what's being communicated.
Absolutely.
Nice.
And some of our kids with autism go on from there, from maybe pointing at pictures to even using some kind of technology to point to pictures that then say the word for them and they can spell out a
Right.
sentence or something like that. We call it augmentative or assistive communication. And
Which
for
is a
some
lot
kids,
more common now.
Right. For some kids and even adults with disabilities, that's their voice.
Right. Very nice.
My third tip, my kind of biggest and most favorite tip for parents who are trying to get their kids to learn to talk is to teach them what we call in behavior world MANDS.
MANDS.
MANDS. That's a fancy word for a request.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, like demands or commands.
Yep.
MANDS.
Exactly. Yep.
All right.
Just a request.
Tell us about that.
Okay. So the most reinforcing thing for a child will be to get their need met.
Right.
We're going to see those tantrums when they can't access whatever it is that they want, right? Teaching them to request what they want, again, using those methods that we talked about, maybe sign language, maybe talking, maybe visuals. Teach them to ask for what it is that they need. And again, being very specific. So we can set up the environment to make those MANDS or requests more enticing, more valuable to that child. So maybe cookies are never on the bottom shelf of the pantry. They're always in a sealed container on the top shelf.
Up high.
So that child learns that they have to ask for cookie to get the cookie.
And that has to be the way that they can get it.
Exactly.
Right? Having whatever they're capable of. So
Right.
you're not going to require full-on speech necessarily, but whatever way they can ask for that cookie is the way that they get it.
Absolutely. And at the beginning,
Nice.
it might be you prompting them or helping them to ask for it appropriately,
Right.
and then giving them what they asked for.
Nice. Thank you, Kristen. Wow, her experience is so valuable. If you have found this helpful, please share this with someone that you know would benefit.